Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Sir Alex Ferguson Challenge with West Ham. In today's episode, there's no gameplay, there's no live com, it is just purely going to be an end of season ramble from me, a review of how things have gone, a look at some of the players' stats and things like that, and discussions for next season. But we'll quickly go through the games that you've missed since the last time we met. We went away to Wolverhampton Wanderers in the league and managed to win 1-0. It was quite a tight game, but Jaramillo bailed us out in the 77th minute and gave us the 3 points. Next up was a 2-0 home win against Wolves, Fabio Silva getting himself a brace in the 44th and 88th minute, with assists for Sandro Tonali and Lucas Toussaint. We then went away to Southampton and managed to pinch a win in the 85th minute through a goal from Fabio Silva. Again, another tight one. We didn't really dominate as you would expect us to against a team who were relatively low down in the Premier League, but we just about managed to sneak through. And in the final game of the season, Chelsea, I just hate Chelsea. It was a game that ultimately did not matter in the grand scheme of things, but getting another defeat against Chelsea it just hurt just a little bit. Marquinhos got themselves the goal in the 57th minute and they went out 1-0 winners. So, we are Premier League champions. We ended up finishing 7 points clear of Manchester United in second place. I mean, actually the title was guaranteed after we beat, I think it was Wolves game. Yeah, after we beat Wolves, we were guaranteed the Premier League title. So, the last few games didn't really matter all that much. So yeah, first time we've been Premier League champions in charge of West Ham. And whilst I am thrilled with that, still the Champions League performances are just giving us that negative spin on it. I really shouldn't be. A Premier League title is a Premier League title. 96 points over the course of a season is a fantastic return. Plus 65 goal difference as well is well above anyone else in the league. 11 goals clear of Man United, who got 54. And then obviously the other competitions, we did lose in the final of the League Cup against Manchester City. But as you can see, the board are not too bothered about that. We got knocked out by Stoke City in the 5th round of the FA Cup when they expected us to reach the semi-finals. So they were a little bit more concerned about that. Champions League, we got knocked out in the quarter-final again, as you say last episode, by Chelsea. And of course in the league, we won the league when we were only expected to qualify for the Europa League. So this season's Premier League finish is the record high for West Ham. Aaron Martin wins English Football Player of the Year, which is absolutely fantastic. He's had a really, really good season. And again, he's won Players Player of the Year as well. Icardi ends up finishing as the top goal scorer for the league. And Jaramillo ended up finishing third with only 15 goals. A really low goal scoring season by the strikers in the Premier League. Brent Beckiart wins Players Young Player of the Year award. Again, the Belgian central midfielder has had a fantastic season. Craig Davies wins Golden Glove through keeping 22 clean sheets in 34 games and only conceding 16 goals. He's just magic. I absolutely love him. We win Manager of the Year, as you would expect, winning the league. And only 4 of our players got in the Team of the Year. It was Craig Davies in goal, Aaron Martin at left back, Emerson at right back, and Brent Beckiart in the centre of midfield. So in terms of some of the key stats for the team for this season, we did finish joint top alongside Manchester United in the goals scored category. We scored 18 corner goals against our 11, which is fantastic. Average possession, we came top of that with 56% possession over the course of the season. We, of course, were the best defensive team in the league, and that was something I was really keen to get into our team after previous season's failings. I thought, get the defence right, and we'll be able to win the Premier League, and we did. Most clean sheets as well with 24, next closest was 21. In terms of the players overview, nobody really stands out massively. Obviously, least conceded was Craig Davies. Jaramillo did come third in the top goal scorer chart. Fabio Silva came 6th with only 1 goal less. Assist-wise, Emerson got 13 for the season and Aaron Martin got 12, so our wing-backs definitely proving their worth going into the final third. So that brings me on to the squad. In terms of key performances, Alexander Isak actually has got the highest average rating out of everybody. And if it hadn't been for a numerous series number of injuries for him, he would be a lot more involved. He was out for 3 months at the beginning of 2024. So he's missed pretty much the entirety of the second half of the season. And again, he's out again with a 3 or 4 week injury. So big things to come from him again next season. You know, he is rated as our highest striker. If an offer came in for him that was too good to turn down, I think I would take it. Emerson actually comes in second. Obviously, Wagnerman, similar to Alexander Isak, had a very difficult season in terms of injuries. And Emerson, who was actually one of the key positions where I thought I needed to improve, he just came on and performed absolutely fantastically. He started 19 games in the Premier League and came on as a substitute 12 times. And in that period, he got 6 goals and 13 assists. Absolutely crazy numbers. Averaging a 7.31 in the Premier League is no mean feat for our backup right back. Obviously, Aaron Martin again winning numerous awards for Player of the Year. He started 31 games in the Premier League, scored 8 goals and got 12 assists. He's just absolutely fantastic. Another wing back quite high up, Tony Lato, got 6 goals and 12 assists in 16 starts with a lot coming off the bench. And we'll just finish off with our other wing back, Joshua Wagnerman. This might be an area where I look to improve in the summer because injury-wise he hasn't been great. Emerson is performing just as good, if not better. That's not to say I would sell Wagnerman and not Emerson, but you know, if I can find someone who's great, I might consider bringing them in. So in terms of players, you'd probably be interested in seeing how they're developing. Harry Miller comes in. He is still only a 3-star player with another 1.5-star potential to grow, according to my assistant. He got himself 30 goals in 42 starts this season in all competitions. And he's a well-rounded striker. He's not world-class or prolific or anything like that, but he is good. Brent Beckyart's another one who's had a fantastic season. 44 games started, 7 goals and 10 assists in all competitions. And he is rounded out to be a very nice Metzala in the centre of midfield. He's currently a 3-star player, could potentially have another star of ability to grow. But even if this is his lot, I'm quite happy with that. Fabio Silva, probably the best striker we've got in terms of just pure raw attributes. He started 37 games this season. Another one in terms of injuries, he hasn't been great. 20 goals and 8 assists, averaging a 7.2. A decent return from him. He's wanted by everybody. It was Real Madrid not too long ago, Arsenal, Barcelona, Liverpool, Red Bull, Leipzig. I would prefer not to sell him, but again, offers that are too good to turn down. I would probably take it. But bearing that in mind, I actually don't think I've had any offer where it's been too good to turn down for any of my players during the duration of this save. Like, I haven't seen the 100 million plus offers for any of our players, so we'll see what happens in the summer. Martin Watkins, of course, was signed in January for £16.5 million from Arsenal. He didn't play as many games as I would have hoped, as he picked up, he broke his leg pretty much straight away as soon as he came in, and he was out for 2 months. But you can expect to see some big things coming from him next season, I hope. In terms of Sandro Tonali, this is how he is sort of rounded out now. He's completed his potential according to my assistant. And I generally agree this is probably as good as it's going to get for him. But he's a fantastically well-rounded playmaker, either in the defensive midfielder position, which I've been playing him quite a bit when Watkins has been available, or in the central midfield position. He can do both. 47 games started, 6 goals and 9 assists, averaging a 7.14. Fantastic. One of our key signings in the summer was Markovic. He hasn't really progressed as much as I would have hoped in terms of his raw attributes, but he did start 40 games for us, averaging a 7.04 over the course of a season, which isn't the end of the world for a centre-half. But again, just little niggly injuries with him as well, similar to a lot of others that have probably slowed his development quite a bit. And finally, we'll talk about the man, the myth, the legend, that is Craig Davies. He was the goalkeeper, if you don't know. He came in through our first youth recruitment, and he's now our first choice, and he will be forever. He's absolutely fantastic. 20 years old, 4-star goalkeeper, 5-star potential. Still got plenty of room to grow, I think. And yeah, he's just fantastic. Started 51 games for us and only conceded 34 games, keeping 30 clean sheets. Ignore the average rating, 6.9 is fantastic for a keeper. So in terms of players who I really want to talk about, that's probably about it. In terms of players who will probably leave in the summer, Danny Olmo has kicked up quite a bit of fuss due to the changing system. We're not playing that attacking midfielder in the centre anymore, so he hasn't really been getting the game time, so I completely understand why he would want to move on. He is wanted currently by Dortmund and Inter Milan, so I think you can expect to see him leaving in the summer transfer window. Declan Rice is another one who has requested a transfer. I am hesitant to get rid of him as he is an English homegrown player, so I would rather keep him on the books if possible, but I haven't been giving him the game time to justify why he would want to stay at the club, so I might end up selling him for not enough money. Similar situation with Rob Holden. He hasn't been getting the game time he's expecting, so he wants to leave the club. And in terms of players, I might even look towards selling, not just accepting bids if they come in. I might look towards selling one of our right wing backs, either Emerson or Wagnerman, and you'll see why in just a second. and maybe even one of our left wing backs. Probably Tony Lato. I probably wouldn't sell Aaron Martin, but Tony Lato could definitely find himself moving on in the summer due to some of the young players that are coming back from loan. But key area that I am targeting for the summer in terms of pure transfers, centre-half, as it has been for the last 3 seasons, I think. We need a world-class, proper, brilliant centre-half. I just can't seem to find them at the minute. But I'm going to try again in the summer and we'll see how that goes. Everywhere else I'm relatively comfortable with. It will just be signings to replace people who are sold or to allow for our young players to come into the first team squad. So in terms of the players that are coming back from loan next season, Armin Jurlic, he's worth £35 million. He's had a decent season at Lazio. I might try and move him on. He's not going to get into the first team squad whilst we're playing the sort of system that we're playing. So similar to Danny Olmo. I might actually sell Danny Olmo and keep Jurlic in the squad in case we need to change things up, but we'll see. Now the interesting one, James Puerta. He's went out on loan to Celta Vigo. He was not comfortable at the right wing back role at all when he went there, but they must have been training him in that position. And when he comes back to West Ham, I'm thinking I want him to be one of either our second or first choice right wing back. You just look at him, he's brilliant. I mean, his tackling needs some work, but everything else I'm relatively comfortable with. So when he comes back, he's going into the first team squad definitely. Could this guy be the answer to our centre-back problems? A 3-star centre-back for us currently. He's been on out loan to Villarreal for the season and he's developed really nicely. Obviously, his physicals are fantastic. Technicals, he could do with some work. Mentally, he's okay as well. I might bring him in. I might. We've also still got Gonzalo Campos, who spent another season out on loan at Napoli. He's just he's a world-class winger, in my opinion, but we don't play a system that accommodates him anymore. Am I going to try and loan him out again or look to sell him this season? It sort of depends if the offers sort of come in for him. Maybe we sell, maybe we loan. And one of the reasons why I might consider selling Tony Lato is because we've got this Romanian lad coming back into the first team squad for next season. He can play as our backup left wing back. He's obviously going to need some training in that position. He doesn't look as attackingly well-rounded as Tony Lato, so I'll have to review them once they come back into the first team squad, but you could definitely see him next season. In terms of the rest of the players, they will probably just get loaned out or sold, depending on what sort of potential they've still got to fill and what sort of squad status I could see them having in the future in our squad. In terms of the finances for this season, we have £115 million to spend and a couple of hundred free in the wage budget, which we can mess about with that. You know, we're always going to have a surplus of money at this club, I think. In terms of the overall balance, we've got 265 million sitting there waiting to be spent. But it has been something I've struggled with on this year's FM, actually finding the place to spend the money on. You know, the regens take a lot longer to progress and to round out their ability. And by the time they're at that point, they've usually already moved to big clubs. So I am finding it difficult in terms of finding that, you know, the world-class talent. I'm talking about the cream, the 1% of the regens. I'm struggling to find them. But I think for next season, it might very well be our last season in charge of West Ham. But we're definitely going to do this one more season. And the aim, as always, is to retain the Premier League title. Get past the quarterfinals of the Champions League will be nice. Anyway, that's enough from me. If you have enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. And if you're enjoying my content, get yourself subscribed. But until next time, take it easy.